Tezos is one of the oldest blockchain projects that survived the last bear market and remained in the most capitalized projects. The questions that we have now are, of course, if Tezos progressed enough to remain in the most capitalized and revolutionary cryptocurrencies, and if it will survive this bear market too. But remember, not necessarily surviving a bear market means going back to the all-time high value that it had, but let's now start from the beginning. Tezos blockchain is a digital cryptocurrency founded in 2014. It is a free or open-source platform for digital assets and applications to store or transfer via its customized blockchain technology. Tezos is a platform for developing decentralized applications and smart contracts, similarly to other blockchains like Cardano or Ethereum. One of the most distinctive and intriguing features of the Tezos blockchain is its self-amending nature, which allows to become better over time by deploying a structured procedure to update its protocol. Tezos operates its system based on numerous upgraded and advanced features, and it also supports on-chain procedures for selecting, testing, and activating protocols. Johann Gevers set up the Tezos Foundation, based in Switzerland, and the blockchain was developed by Arthur and Kathleen Breitman, to then officially present it in 2014. Arthur Breitman is a French native who was a former Google X research engineer and an analyst at Morgan Stanley. Arthur's wife Kathleen is the CEO of Dynamic Ledger Solutions, the company which created the first version of Tezos. Johann Gevers is a Swiss entrepreneur and founder of the Crypto Valley ecosystem. Arthur published a white paper describing the Tezos platform's plan in 2014 under a pseudonym. Afterwards, they organized an initial coin offering, also called ICO, in 2017 to raise funds for the Tezos Foundation. They managed to collect around $232 million in funds, one of the largest and most successful ICO back then. During ICO fundraising in July 2017, Tezos collected 66,000 bitcoins and 361,000 ethers, which was announced as non-refundable donations. Although most investors contributed as investments, not all contributed as donations, issue which would therefore be subject to SEC inspection. The conditions of the initial coin offering also included that if the Tezos blockchain operated for 3 months, the Breitmans would receive 8.5% of the ICO fundraising. Tezos Foundation commissioned an audit company to conduct 5 audits in 2018, which were published in 2019. These reports resolved the issue of Tezos security and claimed the system could protect chain recognition of users' entry and selfish baking process, referred to staking on the Tezos blockchain. These 2 security issues are common in Nakamoto-style consensus in blockchain technology. A thorough analysis of Tezos' platform ensured that selfish baking could not make much profit on this platform, even when users throw a highly valued stake. In 2020, a proven flaw was found in the Tezos platform that the current POS mechanism they used, based on theoretical analysis of profitability and feasibility for block stealing attempts in the network. Afterwards, an upgraded protocol implementation of the Tenderbake protocol amendment was embedded into the system to avoid dishonest behavior to gain profitability. Tezos blockchain uses a liquid proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, which is different from Ethereum and other blockchains, which use a proof-of-work consensus mechanism, and here Tezos' ecological and financial advantages arise, but let's see the difference. Proof of work adds new blocks and transactions to the blockchain by forcing computers to compete to solve an arbitrary mathematical logarithm. To do so, proof of work-based blockchains like Ethereum or Bitcoin require a lot of computing power, which means a lot of energy. The liquid proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, or LPOS, is an algorithm which keeps the computer running and secures the Tezos network. This mechanism enables validating transactions and distribution to newly created Tezos coins called XTZ. The result is that Tezos is much more efficient, and it also charges far less than other blockchains. Compared to Ethereum, for example, it consumes about 2 million times less energy. Continuing our analysis of the Tezos blockchain, let's now look at 5 of its key features. First of all, as mentioned before, it is self-amending and follows a self-amending process to manage assets, allowing the system to be maintained independently. Its self-amendment feature prevents Tezos from splitting, also called forking the network, which prevents Tezos from creating 2 different blockchain platforms. The self-controlled system involves the possibility of dividing the community, changing stakeholders' motives, and sometimes interfering with the network. Tezos successfully created a system that self-amends without interfering with its operation. As a result of this self-amendment process, it reduced the cost of execution and protocol upgrades, which makes future implementations easier. The second key feature is its governance aspect. In fact, on the network, each participant can vote on the protocol's governance. During the election cycle, stakeholders can settle on suggested protocol revisions, but we'll explain this more in detail shortly. Through self-amending, Tezos can modify this first election process to include better governance methods as they're discovered. The third key feature of the Tezos blockchain is its decentralization aspect. People and organizations who enhance the protocol may receive payments and proposed revisions approved by stakeholders. This promotes active involvement and decentralizes network maintenance. Developing an active, open, diverse developer ecosystem will facilitate Tezos development and acceptance. Tezos blockchain, it supports the creation of smart contracts and the development of a decentralized platform that third parties cannot alter because it follows a verification process. Considering smart contracts are written mathematically, the verification technique proves logically the asset or property calculation or existence to boost system security. This verification process is capable of avoiding any unsecured intervention into the network. The Tezos blockchain is powered by their native coin called XTZ, which can be used for payments, execution of decentralized applications, staking, and governance. Tezos offers a validated platform for users, a process that is called baking, and it is comparable to staking. Bakers play a vital role in the proof-of-stake consensus mechanism as it prevents double spending by ensuring that all transaction records are in a block correctly and safely. Bakers can check and validate all transactions and add these records to the blockchain. To become a baker, you must deposit at least 8,000 XTZ coins as security deposit to take part in the consensus process in the POS mechanism. Tezos follows a consensus protocol that rewards positive contributions to network security and penalizes dishonest behavior. If a baker acts negatively, Tezos protocol is ready to penalize them, making them lose their security deposit. Tezos blockchain, it is not extremely fast. It processes 40 transactions per second with extremely low fees of just 1 cent of a dollar. To participate in governance, participants must stake XTC and become a baker with 8,000 XTC. Otherwise, users can also delegate their tokens to bakers on the live blockchain, who can distribute votes and receive XTC rewards. By enabling users to swap between bakers based on their voting preferences easily, bakers are incentivized to perform honestly. A baker participates in the blockchain's governance by voting on proposed code changes. 4 consecutive voting periods are separated by about 23 days in the voting procedure. First of all, the proposal submission period, in which any baker or client user is allowed to submit an upgrade or amend the proposal. If this submitted proposal gets more approval, it moves to the next process and period. The second phase is called exploration period. If the submitted proposal gets an 80% vote in favor, the process moves to the next period. The testing period, here the proposal goes through a temporary test phase to check if the new update is safe, stable, and effective for the network. Lastly, the promotion vote period. In this phase, whether the proposal will be approved and implemented is determined by the majority vote of the bakers. Furthermore, bakers may submit invoices along with their proposals. If the proposal is approved following the 4 voting periods, the protocol will mint and pay the baker the invoice amount. The XTZ coin doesn't have a maximum supply. It had an initial supply of around 750 million coins, and at the moment there are slightly over 900 million tokens in circulation. Initially, 80% of the supply went to investors and 20% was allocated to the Tezos Foundation and the founders. They had a vesting period which ended this year in April, so they technically can increase sell pressure in the future when we will return in more bullish scenarios. Tezos blockchain has a 4.5% inflation rate, and both delegators and bakers earn around 3% yearly rewards. Tezos claims that its inflation mechanism can secure and protect stakeholders in the long run by giving additional tokens. Currently, XTC has a market capitalization of $1.5 billion, and its token price is around $1.68, down 81% from its all-time high, just over $9 last year in October. Considering we are in a bear market, XTC remains extremely risky as all the altcoins are in this period. Its price performance depends first of all on how Bitcoin performs. If Bitcoin remains bearish and goes lower, it is likely that Tezos and other altcoins will go further down, especially because usually in bear markets, altcoins lose value against Bitcoin. If Bitcoin turns bullish, all the altcoins will follow and will likely have a similar positive uptrend. Typically after this period, the capital and the profits from Bitcoin move into altcoins. Here we will see altcoins outperform Bitcoin, and this is usually identified as alt season. For the time being, altcoins are more risky and volatile, and probably it's best practice to only dollar cost average in Bitcoin. But I will keep an eye and give an update when I consider will be time to start buying and accumulating more into XTC, as I do think it is undervalued and it has great return potential. The Tezos blockchain, in my opinion, has a bright time ahead. However, we need to see few things happen, and I must say that the adoption of the network has been quite slow. The smart contracts applications on the network are slowly increasing, which obviously brings slow adoption of the ecosystem. The reason for this might be because the coding language on the Tezos blockchain, it is quite demanding, making possible to build just for high-skilled developers. This obviously reflects negatively on the adoption, and as we can also see on DeFi Llama, the total value locked floats around $38 million. It had a peak of almost $200 million last year in October, and it then kept declining. To make a comparison, Cardano blockchain shows higher adoption from developers and users, even if they only released its smart contract functionality last year in September. In just a few months, Cardano reached a total value locked of over $300 million to then decline to around $90 million in this bear market. Hopefully, we will see more decentralized application releasing in the coming months to bring more users on board and increase adoption, even if this is not the only important factor. The Tezos blockchain recently had its 10th upgrade in June, called Jakarta, which shows us that people are working hard to improve the blockchain step by step. This update improved and upgraded the Tezos performances, including transaction-optimistic rollups, which lead to increased throughput, lower fees, and a pathway to significantly increase long-term scalability. As we can see here, it also introduced improvements to tickets and sapling, enabling improved network privacy features and increased decentralization for Tezos tokens. This is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. Let me know down below what are your thoughts about this project, and don't forget to subscribe to win Bitcoin from this channel's profits, which we are going to give back to our community that follow us and watch our videos.